Welcome back, veterans. I'm sitting here today with Jodi Clock from Clock Funeral Home, and we're talking about getting your afterlife matters together, if you will, and planning, estate planning, and things you need to look at if you're a veteran or the family member of a vet to look for. And Jodi, one of the things that we talked about was pre-planning. So, and
shame on you.
I haven't done it exactly right. I haven't done it myself, and so, and this is something my kids, I want them to understand, and my spouse, and she says, I don't want to talk about it. I said, but mine. I said, hey, just shake and bake me. Send me down to Battle Creek. I'm in good company, and that's okay by me. But that's not enough. That really is unfair to let that go with that, glibly saying that. So, if I want to do this pre-planning, what is I should be bringing to you, and what should I do? How does that work?
Well, we already talked about earlier, you need to bring your veterans discharge papers.
I have that.
But what's really more important is to make sure you have your Social Security number, because your Social Security number drives that bus from beginning to end. And so that is, your unique identification number. Outside of that, you're going to know things like your date of birth, your mother's maiden name. We're going to want to know your ancestry, where you're Swedish, Polish, what were you there?
Heinz 57.
There you go. There you go. We're going to need to know your children's names that are on their birth certificate, so you can have that family legacy and tree and heritage. You said you wanted to shake and bake, and that's okay. It's better than shaken, not stirred. And lots of people like that today as an option. But if you did nothing more than just leave that and then say you want to go down to Fort Custer, you have given, first and foremost, your family a roadmap or a place to begin, and then the funeral director and or anyone that you meet with that day, the information that they need to sit down and guide you from beginning to end to make that happen, and for your family to honor you in the fashion that you wanted to be remembered by.
Does this become written down someplace? And it's not like a will, but it's something like, if your kids say, well, I don't think Dad wanted it. Well, yeah, here is what Dad said he did, and this is what here's his little roadmap. So you can argue with him, but you can't argue with him, so take it up with this piece of paper type thing. So.
Well, that's a great point, because a lot of people write that information down and they'll leave it in their family Bible, and then you don't find that information until after the fact. So what you want to do is take that information. The funeral home will always keep a copy, and then, they'll keep the original, and then you're going to want to have a copy, and then you're either going to want to not put it in your lockbox, because that's going to be sealed at the time of death. You're going to want to give it to another friend or a family member. And then the part that we didn't talk about was if you did not pre-fund, meaning prepay for that, you're going to want to let them know how you intended to have that paid for. Did you have insurance? Were you counting on getting your $300 veterans benefit? What were you going to use above and beyond to pay for that? Did you want them to take it out of your checking and or savings? So you're going to want to at least give them a little hint of what funds are available.
I know I process all the county burial applications for that $300, and I look at some of the funeral bills, and I think a lot of people, if they're not looked into it, might be a little sticker shock, because it's not cheap, and so it takes planning. So you need to decide how much do I want to spend on this, and make sure so you don't leave that on a guilt trip on somebody else and say, well, should he have gotten this casket, or did he want this, or did he want that? Is there a payment plan? Can you prepay that? Can you pay this thing out like before you go?
You can prepay it, and there are many ways. But before I lose my train of thought here, you said something that I wanted to jump in at real quick, and you were talking about how are you going to pay for this and all of this good stuff. One of the ways in the sticker shock you're talking about is, in defense of all funeral homes here in Muskegon or really across the country, funeral homes get a bad rap. Because, yes, funeral homes are a for-profit business. They need to be paid fairly for what they do. However, what gets lumped into that funeral price is not only the costs of what funeral professionals do, meaning from when that phone rings to the time that we take the body to the cemetery. We get the rap for the obituaries in the newspaper. We get blamed for the prices on the cemetery costs. Number one, for the plot, and number two, the opening in the grave. So if you take that away by utilizing the Fort Custer National Cemetery, or for that fact, any national cemetery, that's going to alleviate a lot of sticker shock. Then if you take advantage of using the other things that the government allots for you veterans, such as the headstone and the vault, actually the grave liner, that's going to bring that cost down even more. So you shouldn't anticipate a whole lot of sticker shock. It should be very, very reasonable.
But I think like if you haven't had a new car for 15 years
I know.
and you go out and look at a new car, you think, well, this is the price, this is what things are today. So this is what the ballpark is. This, if this is what you want, this is the ballpark you need to be in. So
Yeah.
be prepared for that.
Yep.
And don't leave it on, like say the funeral homes, because I know a lot of times you guys bite the bullet on this and it's kind of maybe written off, whatever. But that's not fair. That's not fair
No,
to
it's
cheat
not
somebody out of a business if you want all these things done, but you want somebody else to pay for it. And that's not right. That's not the right way to do it either.
No.
Yeah, so you should do some shopping. You should shop around and say, here's what I want and what can I get for that? And let me seal it, let me lock the deal up now, because 10 years or 15 years from now, prices are going to increase. So if
Well-
I can lock it in here, then it's a smart thing to probably do.
Funerals have actually doubled and sometimes even
Yep.
tripled every 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And if those are our internal costs, think of the external costs that we have to work with for things that are not within our control, like the cemetery.
The cemeteries,
and the
exactly,
newspaper.
all that price, in the newspaper. Well, I look at some, because I know the prices on your paper, and I look
Yeah.
at some of these columns there and I think, oh, heck, there's a bundle of money on that.
Well, and that's why people are going to the internet on that for
Yeah,
a
if you
lot
get
of
real
that.
wordy, it's gonna cost you big time, so,
You mentioned talking to other places. I encourage everyone, if they, first of all, they need to pre-arrange and pre-fund. And whether it's with our funeral home or any other funeral home, you need to be specific and go in and talk to your funeral home. Tell them that you would like a burial or a cremation. Do you want a visitation? Do you want a memorial service? What does that look and feel like to you? Do you want it the day of or the evening before and then the next day? Because every funeral home has a general price list. And if you're specific, then you'll be able to compare apples to apples. And if price is an issue, and it is, tell them that, because people will work with you. But if you don't tell them, whether you're talking to myself or one of our colleagues at another place, they're not a mind reader. And it's really unfair to position people against each other. So what you just want to do is, be fair. It'd be no different than buying a ar.
exactly. You're doing
This is
you're
what I
buying a
want,
you're
this
purchasing a
is what I
service.
want it to look like and feel like.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, at the end of the day, you'll end up doing business with either A, if it's price point, or B, where you feel comfortable at. And that's all very personal. Understand there are no wrongs or rights, but just be forthright with what you want so you get that right information.
Yeah. And as veterans, you also need to let the funeral home know that, number one, they are a vet, and are they service-connected? Because if you're a service-connected disabled veteran, you're drawing a check from the VA, whether it be a pension, which is based on income,
Yes.
or service-connected disability. There's additional federal burial allowances, can range from $450 up to over $2,000. If a veteran passes away in a veterans facility, then there's transportation costs that are also involved with that. So you need to let them know so they can get the right paperwork filled out and apply for those additional benefits. But again, if you're service-connected disabled and you're drawing any kind of funds from the VA, any kind of a check, there's additional financial assistance towards that burial, in addition to the $300 that the county provides and stuff. So.
Well, you said that, and that juggled my memory as we were talking again before we started shooting today. My father was a veteran, and he served, in the Navy long, long ago, and he was in the San Antonio Veterans Hospital, and he did receive the benefits that you are talking about.
Yep.
And my father's been gone over 20 years, and you just giving me a memory jog. That was a nice surprise, because we were unaware of it at that time.
And it can help, and that's part of your planning. You can actually figure in, so if I'm 30% service-connected, and I know I'm eligible for this and this, so that comes off the price of whatever else, or that income's there, so not only I need to come up with this amount to juggle this out and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and again, please, do not leave this on your kids or a spouse or family. It's a tough time when somebody passes it to begin with. And then to leave this additional burden of choice-making,
Yes.
of what did dad or mom really want, was this what they thought? And God bless the kids, they mean well, but you got one saying this and the other one will say that, and then they get arguments. And that's not a time that you want family division. That's certainly the time you want the family to come together as a unit. And again, shame on you if you don't do this as a veteran, because it's your responsibility to put your house in order here, and it's easy
It
to
is.
do, and it doesn't cost anything up front. Just do a little legwork. put down your thoughts, put down your wishes, what you want it to be, and give somebody a roadmap. And then,
Does that mean we're going to sit down when this is all through and we're going to take?
I need to do it. I'm guilty. I need to do it myself.
Just giving you a hard time. I had to do that.
Don't let the gray hair fool you. I am getting old. And again, we are all going to go veterans. No matter how bad you think you are, how tough you are, we are going to die. My thing said, "How you doing today?" And I said, "Well, I looked at the Chronicle and I didn't see a flag and my name in there, so I guess I'm good for another day." But that's how it goes. But unfortunately, we're all going to have to pass, and it's your chance now to say how you want it to be.
We've been sitting here talking about veterans, and shame on me. We have a little fan or a veteran right here that we're so very proud of. His name is Cameron Gowell. He is our apprentice funeral director. He's just got back, less than 2 weeks from Afghanistan. And his father is a seasoned 30-year funeral director who has been on our staff, and he's so proud of his son, Cameron, and we're just happy that he's back safe and sound.
Oh, good. I'd like to meet him and tell him welcome home. That's one of the things that you do when you have a military person get out of service and come home is that, hey, welcome home and thank you for your service. I went many years, I've retired Air Force, I went many years before somebody would say that to me. And it's very popular now, and so if you see the young man, it's just tell him thanks, we appreciate it. And let them know how much we appreciate what you do. You got one right here in your family. That's good.
Well,
that's cool.
And the thing that really got me thinking about it is when he left, of course, his dad and his family had intrepidation, and they're proud of him. And we all want to hear how he's doing, but with the internet, he could Skype at home.
Oh yeah.
Or he could
totally
communicate.
Yep.
And I just can't imagine as a parent, that void that you couldn't see or hear.
Yeah.
So
not knowing what was going on.
yeah, it's come a long way.
It's good or bad. Sometimes it's instantaneous because you see what's going on on the news, and then you want to get to your son or daughter and thinking that wasn't your area or that was near your base and that kind of a thing.
Yes.
But they are able to get that almost instantaneous back. Say, I'm okay. Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
We actually saw him on the Today Show. They had gone over and done a stint, and I think it was Matt Lauer that was talking, and right behind him was Cam. So
how amazing is that?
fine
Yeah,
that day.
yeah.
It was kind of fun.
That's good. Well, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and I think the important things we need to get out of this. And Jodi, I certainly want to thank you for allowing me to come over today and host this and some tremendous information. And we covered a lot. You'll be able to go back online and see this and go back over and watch this interview. But probably the important things is get that documentation at 214. Sit down and make yourself a roadmap. Discuss it with your family and let them know what you want. Hook up with the funeral home and say, let me plan this thing out there. Let me get some prices, and here's kind of what I want, what do I have to work on. And then let your family know and let the funeral homes know that you are a vet. Probably served, and then we'll do the rest of make sure you get the benefits that you have coming to you.
Taken care of.
Yeah, they do a great job here at Clock Funeral Home. They always have, and every year when you post at the end of the year how many veterans you served on Veterans Day, it's impressive, depressive and impressive. But you know what? They always take good care of them. And with the respect and honor that they have coming to them, and that's what's really nice. And thank you, Jodi, for the job that you guys do, and for looking after and helping us take care of our veterans. I really appreciate that. We'll be back after this commercial.